Hello everyone, my name is Alan Kutsia and I'm a New Zealand licensed immigration advisor. I'm shooting this video from beautiful Waiheke Island, New Zealand. But unfortunately, we all know that the situation in the country isn't quite as perfect as my surroundings. The economy is not doing well due to COVID-19, unemployment is going up, and this has of course affected the lives of many migrants. Now, if you are a temporary work visa holder and you are worried about your job situation, this video is for you. We'll be talking about a few things. What should you do when your job situation has changed? And what are some pathways for you to stay in New Zealand and weather out this economic crisis? Now, first thing we're going to talk about, your job situation has changed. What should you do? Now, first, what is a change that I'm talking about? Number one, you're losing your job. Number two, your hours have been reduced. Number three, your pay has been reduced. Or perhaps you are stuck outside of the country and you are unable to do the job for which you got the work visa. Now, if one of these things has happened to you, you must inform Immigration New Zealand as soon as possible. Now, what will happen after you inform Immigration New Zealand? Well, they'll find out that you are not meeting the conditions of your visa. You've done nothing wrong, but you may no longer hold the visa because you're not meeting its conditions. If you're offshore, most likely situation, you'll lose the visa immediately, unfortunately. If you're in New Zealand, they're not going to cancel the visa immediately. They'll probably allow you to stay on the visa for a reasonable period of time, maybe a month or so, giving you time to either return to your country or apply for a new visa. It could be a visitor visa, another work visa, or perhaps even a student visa. We'll be talking about these visa options a little bit later. Now, you might be hearing this and thinking, well, if I tell Immigration New Zealand about my change in job situation, the consequences are quite negative. And you're right, they are. But if you don't tell Immigration New Zealand, it'll be much worse. You might be able to stay on the visa and get some short-term benefit, but you would be breaking the law. And when it comes time to renewing your visa, if Immigration New Zealand finds out that you were not meeting the conditions of your visa and you concealed it from them, you now have a character issue. You could become ineligible for a work visa for many years to come, and your employer could get in trouble as well. So to be upfront, face the negative consequences. It's better in the long run. Now, this next part is for temporary work visa holders who are in New Zealand and have a stable life here. They don't want to go back to their country. So what can they do? Well, as I said, you might be able to apply for a new visitor visa. Now, the visitor visa would be a short-term solution. However, it might give you more time to look for a new job. On a visitor visa, obviously you cannot work. However, you may look for a job, and once you get a good job offer, you have the option of applying for a work visa. Now, when it comes time to apply for the work visa, there's a few things to keep in mind. First thing, you got your original essential skills work visa because at the time, probably when unemployment was about 4%, you filled a gap in the labor market. Now, right now, these gaps are much fewer and far in between because there are so many New Zealanders looking for a job that now it's getting a lot harder to get a work visa. Remember that if just one suitable New Zealander is available to fill your position, well, then you cannot get a work visa. Now, of course, this is bad news, but there are a few things to keep in mind. Number one, the national unemployment rate only tells us so much. Remember that unemployment varies from industry to industry and from region to region. Now, if you work in a job for which there are a lot of labor shortages, you might still fill a labor shortage now despite the economic crisis. So you're lucky, you might still be eligible for a work visa. Now, if you don't fill a shortage now and you're living in a city, well, why not consider moving to one of the regions? There are a lot of places like Waikato, Whanganui, and certain areas in the South Island that have had long-term labor shortages. Now, I'm not saying that these areas are unaffected by the economic crisis. However, you might have more opportunities there than in a highly competitive job market like Auckland or the other big cities. So when you are applying for a job, cast your net wide, seize as many opportunities as possible, and you might get lucky and get an acceptable job offer. However, you might still be out of luck. You might not be able to get a job offer despite all your best efforts. So what can you do? Well, one option might be applying for a student visa. Now, I do need to mention at this point that a student visa is for people who are serious about studying. It is not an option for you to just stay in New Zealand and not actually do any study. Only apply for a student visa if you are prepared to invest the time and energy to attend a course for a year or more. Remember, if you're skipping too many classes or failing all your exams, you are not meeting the conditions of the student visa, you could get the visa cancelled. But if you are willing to make this commitment, you might come out in a year or more with a new qualification, become more employable, and you'll have an easier time getting a work visa in future, by which time, hopefully, the economy would have recovered somewhat. There are a few other advantages to a student visa as well. First of all, you will retain work rights for most students. This will allow you to work part-time, but you can take any job you want. You will be unaffected by any availability of New Zealander issues like on essential skills. So student visas have open part-time work rights. Another advantage is that it offers more stability than another essential skills work visa. Remember, you might get a new essential skills work visa, but if you become redundant during that time, then your visa again becomes invalid. Whereas on a student visa, as long as you keep up with the course, you're guaranteed another year or more of stable life in New Zealand. Another advantage of a student visa is that after you graduate, you might be eligible for a post-study work visa. Now these last between 1 and 3 years, and they are also open. So you can take any job you want, working anywhere you want. And again, by the time the post-study work visa expires, hopefully the economy would have been better. So these are quite medium-term solutions, allowing you to maintain a stable life in New Zealand on a student visa, as long as you are willing to put in the time and energy in studying a new course. Another thing to mention is that becoming a student is a large financial commitment. You need to have a budget of at least $50,000, maybe more, to pay for your tuition fees and any living expenses incurred. Another thing to keep in mind is that if you are on a 3-year essential skills work visa and you're supporting your family on partnership and dependent child visas, well, their visa situation might change as well. Remember that most students are unable to support partners on work visas. They may only support partners on visitor visas. I do say most students. Master's, PhD, no problem. However, bachelor's and below, you might have difficulty. So your partner might have to change to a visitor visa. As for your child, they might be paying domestic student study fees, same as New Zealand students right now. However, if you become a student, your child will have to become an international student as well, and their tuition fees will increase. So there we go. So these are the 3 options. Visitor visa, short-term solution. Work visa, which would be ideal, but it's not easy at the moment. And a third option is a student visa. Okay, so thanks very much for watching this video. Do keep up with our Facebook page. Get in touch with us anytime you want. Our office is in Newmarket. We'd love to see you here, or send us a message on Facebook. So yeah, keep safe everyone, keep happy, and keep in touch, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much for watching.